Hello everyone, this is grade 6, module 2, lesson 11 problem set. The directions state, solve each problem. Remember to round to the nearest penny when necessary. So let's start in with question 1, and I'm going to bring it down here. And 1 says calculate the product, 45 and 67 hundredths times 32 and 58 hundredths. Now, before I even want to start this question, I would like to estimate this off to the side. So I'm going to round 45 and 67 hundredths to 46. Because of that 6 in the tens place, it's higher than 5, so I'm going to round up. And the same thing for 32. I see a 5 there in the tenths, so 32 is going to go to 33. And the reason why I'm doing this one is because I want to make sure I know about the size of my number for my final answer for the actual problem. So this is going to help me out with determining where the decimal is going to go. So I'm looking for something roughly around 1,500. And again, that was my estimation. So let's go back over to the problem. And we're going to multiply it like normal. So I'm going to start right here in the hundredth place and go up. So 8 times 7 is 56. 6 times 8 is 48 plus the 5 is 53. And again, I'm carrying my tens when I do this. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 5 is 45. So I'm bringing the 4, or the 40, sorry. 4 times 8 is 32, plus the 4 is 36. So now I'm crossing this off. I got to add my placeholder because I'm shifting over a place value. I'm going from hundredths to tenths. So I'll erase off these numbers on the top just so I don't get confused. 5 times 7 now is 35. So bring down the 5, carry the 30. So it's shifting over from one place to the next. That's why it's only a 3 and not a 30. That's very important to keep in mind because 5 times 7 is 35. I put the 5 down, but I'm taking the 30 with me, and notice it turns into a 3 because I'm jumping over one place value. That's why that works. So 5 times 6 is 30, plus 3 is 33. So again, I'm putting the 3 up there. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 3 is 28. And we got 22. So now I've gone 2 places, so I'm going to put 2 placeholders in there. And again, I need to erase my top off. So now we're at the 2 in 32. So we have 14, 13, 11, and 9. And I cross it off, and notice I have 3 numbers crossed off, so I'm going to have 3 placeholders here. I'm going to slide down a little bit. I'm running out of room. And now it's just the 3 here. And again, I want to make sure this time I'm going to put a line through them so I know not to use them. 3 times 7 is 21. Carry the 2. Or the 20, sorry, again, it's going to be a 2 because we're jumping decimal places. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 2 is 20. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. And 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Now, I can go through and I can add these up. And that should be my number right there for the answer for multiplication. Now, the only other thing I have to do is figure out where that decimal place goes. And I know based on my answer, it's got to be right around 1,518. So I know I have 1,487. So I'm assuming it's going to go right there because 1,487 is very close to 1,518 because remember we had to round up. Now, the other way that we've talked about is with place value. And again, we're not pulling the decimal point out. We're figuring that when we multiply a hundredth times 100th, that's going to get us into the 10,000ths. So I'm not putting the decimal place back in. I'm identifying where the 10,000th is. There's tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. Because 100th times 100th equals 1/10,000th. So that's telling me right there that I gotta have a number in the 10,000ths place. So that's how that counting the decimal places and putting the decimal back in, as we used to say, that's why that works, because it's 100th. We're in the hundredths position. We're in the hundredths position. We have to multiply those two together, and we know that we're going to end up with 10,000ths. So we got to get all the way out to that 10,000th. So that's why that little trick works. So that's question 1. A lot of work going on with 1. That's why there's only 4 of these. Let's take a look at 2, and I'll do this one in blue. And let's mark this off here. So here's 2. It says, Deprina buys a large cup of coffee for $4.70 on her way to work every day. If there are 24 work days in the month, how much does Deprina spend on coffee throughout the entire month? You can already tell Deprina is spending an awful lot of money on coffee. So $4.70. I know that with this, I don't necessarily have to have the 0 on there, but I know that I do when I put it back into money form. And I know that I'm multiplying it by 24 work days because she spends this amount every day for 24 days. Now, to help me out quick, I'll round this. 24 is going to stay where it is because it's a whole number. 4 and 7/10, since that's a 7, I can round that 4 to a 5. And what this is going to do is just give me a quick look at what it could be, and that's my estimate. So my estimate is about $120, or 120, and we'll figure it out with our decimal place. So when we get our number with the decimal, we'll be able to figure out exactly where that decimal point needs to go. So now let's multiply. So we're going to start with this 4 in the ones place. So 4 times 7 is 28. And again, I'm bringing the 20 over. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 2 is 18. I cross this off. I erase my top. And I'm going to add my placeholder. So 2 times 7 is 14. And there's 9. So I'll slide down so I can add these. 8. So I have 1,128, but I know I need to be somewhere near $120. So I'm going to count over 3 and add that in. So it looks like it's $112.08. But when I'm working with money, I need to go to the hundredths. So if there's nothing there, I can add a 0. And all of a sudden, it looks like I have a dollar amount of $112.80. Now, without doing this, without my estimation, I know that I had, I was working with tenths right here, and I had nothing down at the bottom. So my answer has to go to tenths. And actually, I could say the smallest place value I'm working with is ones. So I'm multiplying it by ones. Not how many are in the ones, but the fact that I have a ones place. So I know anything times 1 will get me itself, so I'm looking at tenths. So that's why I could move it to the just inside the 8/10, because remember that 0 wasn't there. I put it in as a placeholder. So $112.80, and that's very close to $120. Okay, let's look at 3. Krigo earns $2,456.75 every month. He also earns an extra $4.75 every time he sells a new gym membership. Last month, Krigo sold 32 new gym memberships. How much money did Krigo earn last month? So I'm going to go off to the side here this time. And let's do this one in green. So we know that he earns $2,456.75 for the month, but he also makes $4.75 each membership, and he sold 32. So what I want to first do is I'm going to add his earnings to the new gym memberships. So 32 times $4.75, and I want to make sure I do the $4.75 times 32 first to get the actual amount, because that's extra on top of what he earned right here. So for each of those 32, he made $4.75. So I'm going to solve that first. So $4.75 times 32. And again, I'm not going to go through and do my estimation on this one because we've gone through it twice now. So I feel like we could easily just figure out where the decimal place is. And we'll be able to do that in just a second. So now I got to figure out my decimal place, and I know for this one, I went out to the hundredths because I am out here. This bottom number is my lowest place value is ones. So 1/100th times 1 is going to give me hundredths. So I got to have something in the hundredths place. So I move it over 2 places or put the decimal in 2 places over because I have tenths and hundredths there. So $152. Now that's what I'm going to add to this. Just $152. And I got to make sure I line up my decimal points. And it looks like he's going to make $2,608.75. And of course, I need my dollar sign, and then an answer statement would be good for all of these, but I'm just showing the work for it. So my last one, I'll do 4 down below. We'll do that in purple. Let's go up and read it. Kendra just bought a new house and needs to buy new sod for her backyard. If the dimensions of her yard are 24 6/10 feet by 14 8/10 feet, what is the area of her yard? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to draw a quick picture to show that. And I'll get this one set up for you. And I want to make sure I have my dimensions because that's going to help me with my final answer. So now to find area, we know that the formula for area is base times height or length times width. So either one is going to work for this. So when I plug this in, it's actually going to be 24 6/10. I want to make sure I got my units. So I would just multiply those two. And remember, with area, I'm going to have feet squared or square feet, and then my answer going in there. So to set this up, and I'll set this one up first, and then not going to solve the whole thing out, but at least get it set. And I know that my top number goes out to the tenths. My bottom number goes out to the tenths, because I can see it there. So my answer, whatever numbers I get when I add up down below here, I have to put one of those digits in the hundredths. So when I add up everything and I get my number going down through, the first two I'll put, after the first two numbers on the right, I'm going to put my decimal point in because that's where I'm getting the hundredths place from. And that'll get me the area of her room. I see I'm taking this with me here. Let me pin this, and I can slide over. So that's how you'll find the area of her yard. and that'll help out with the how much sod you'll need. So we're just finding the area for the yard. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching, and good luck on the rest of your problem set.